Hey, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Rage, and we are back today with the special introduction here of Invisible Woman MCU finally joining Marvel Strike Force, but more importantly, the start of this new powerhouse team that is going to be changing the meta that we know in Marvel Strike Force, guys. So, in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at her kit. We're going to be reviewing in detail what we should be preemptively upgrading in the meantime if you're planning to also push for this character. Remember, they are going to be forming the new arena team that's going to change everything in terms of what we understand, especially once Franklin Richards finally joins the game with his new mechanic being the silence and able to shut down some of the best characters in the game. Definitely something we want to be keeping an eye out for, but good news is that we have some time to prepare right now. We know Invisible Woman, obviously her addition now into the game. Likely next week is going to be Mr. Fantastic, and then the week after or following, usually they take a break or so, depending on how they want to release this, finally when we will see Franklin Richards. So without further ado, guys, let's take a look at Invisible Woman, what we can preemptively start in terms of upgrading, and what is going to allow her to maximize in terms of the kit. We'll take a look at each of her abilities, as well as what her potential ISO-8 is also going to be if you're planning to bring her up. So, first and foremost, Invisible Assault, attacking the primary target for 100% piercing. She's also going to be chaining his attack to 2 adjacent targets. However, counterattack does not break this chain, so that's really, really cool to see that value add there, that even those counter targets are not going to be able to cancel that out. So you can see also as an added little fluff in terms of just some debuffs, bleed is also going to be sticking to her abilities here, applying 2 bleeds actually from her basic, so not needed, but nice that add that additional DPS there, especially since the bleed can stack, right? Invisible Assault right there as an overview, and really the T4 upgrade here just gives you additional piercing, so I don't know if I would recommend it right off the bat. Let's take a look at her special, ultimate, and passive before we make that decision, especially if you're trying to save on your T4 materials as well. Breaking Light special ability, gaining stealth, as you can see here, very similar to the original Invisible Woman, but she's also going to be applying defense down to the primary and adjacent targets, even at level 1, and this attack does ignore defense up, so really notable right there. As we level this ability up, she's also going to be adding some additional debuffs here in terms of ability block, shutting down an enemy character, so giving that a little bit of crowd controlling aspect. In Arena, if this character does have 2 or more fantastic allies, she's also going to be inflicting that detrimental trauma onto adjacent targets. So pretty notable here, ensuring that the debuffs stay put and aren't actually cleansed away. Defense down, also lasting for 2 full turns. And then finally, what I think is the most notable is the upgrade here, because the trauma actually lasting for 2 full turns. So this right away looks like an immediate upgrade already for her special ability, because it can inflict those debuffs and the trauma, ensuring that it sticks, so that way it cannot be cleared. Unseen Vortex ultimate ability, very, very similar to what we've seen kind of with Void Knight and the Silver Surfer and Magnetos, is that she's going to be pulling the enemies up to 2 spaces towards each other. So we've been seeing this mechanic getting added more, but I absolutely love it because it can keep enemies close by together and adjacent to one another, allowing her the other abilities of her allies to thrive because they can hit adjacent. So you can see pulling them together, also gaining additional focus for this attack, and it also cannot be dodged or counterattacked. Defense down, once again getting stricken on the enemies there, additional damage being increased as well. She also clears all positive effects from the enemies. And then lastly, with the T4 upgrade here, defense down, also lasting for 2 full turns. So special and ultimate are looking like strong upgrades already, making her a very potable, potential and strong ally to have on your side, and as well ensuring that there's a bit of crowd controlling aspect with a bit of debuffs also being applied onto the team. So that's really notable. Last but not least, passive ability is called Fantastic's Heart. So on spawn, gaining stealth. So right off the bat, she's going to be gaining some damage mitigation against enemies. When a Fantastic Four allies uses their special or ultimate, she's going to be attacking the most injured for 75% piercing, and once again, gaining that stealth. So it's almost certain that she's always going to be stealth unless the enemies have some sort of flip that, obviously flipped out above, and then leaves her vulnerable in this respect. But otherwise, I mean, she's going to be protected for the most part, guys. When she does have stealth, she's also gaining additional crit chance. She's also getting additional piercing damage here in the T4 upgrade. So her passive is unfortunately a little bit underwhelming because it's really applying some offensive output for her. But otherwise, I do like the fact that she's going to be getting this natural protection. And again, whenever she does have the stealth, she's gaining additional piercing and crit damage as a result of the passive. So obviously, this is going to be some notable increase there for damage-wise, but Honestly speaking, I was thinking of her being more of that defensive and supportive role, but she's really applying some additional damage here. And you can see she's quite different from the original and OG Invisible Woman that we have in the game. So you can see her being slotted as a brawler. I can definitely see a couple of ISO-8s that you can take advantage of. First and foremost, with her kit mainly revolving around piercing and as well as crit hit and crit chance, the ISO-8 Raider may make the most sense. You can see her actually applying her special and her ultimate, both actually having debuffs opportunities with defense down. You can maximize the output of the ISO-8 Raider, which is really good because I think that's going to be probably what I'm going to be starting off with. I can also see the ISO-8 Striker being a notable option because each time that she does have the original basic attack here, she's going to be inflicting 2 bleeds. And remember, her basic even has the piercing damage as well. So a Striker ISO-8 also wouldn't be bad if you're trying to take advantage of the vulnerables on the enemies as part of that respect, and as well at the same time applying debuffs across the board with the additional Striker hit. So I think I'm going to start things off with the Raider, but I can definitely see some synergies and theory crafting there with the ISO-8 Striker. Both of them seem to be probably the most obvious choices here for Invisible Women, unless we're seeing that maybe some debuffs aren't sticking, then maybe a Skirmisher ISO-8 will ensure that debuffs like defense down and ability block is getting more consistency. That's what I'm going to be watching out for, but you can see across the board, she is pretty well-rounded, so I really do appreciate that respect. Now, guys, on to the unlock. Remember, with her inclusion now into the game, you can actually access her in the way of the orbs, which cost 675 power cores, ensuring you get a minimum of 6 shards. Now, I highly recommend you guys hold off on using any power cores in the meantime, because as we've kind of seen with some of these recent new character team releases, and this is a bad example to show you because this is already completed, but remember, the Helverine shards were included as a standalone week in the command center here. And with Invisible Woman being the first character, kind of what we saw with Daredevil Modern, kind of what we saw with Victoria Han, and then following with the Helverine as part of the Accursed team, I suspect that she's probably coming into the store here for the command center. So in the meantime, I would actually recommend holding off on using any power cores for her release, because we can see that there's probably going to be some sort of free-to-play aspect for shards being available in the command center. And as well, don't forget, we also have seen in the past that the newest characters have been included in the Intel store, right? Most recently, the Hood being part of the Chapter 1 Intel. So there's still lots of time. I think better off right now to save all your power cores, because at the end of the day, Franklin Richards is going to be the most important character of this mix. You definitely want to be saving as much as you can for him. And in the meantime, as well, we don't know how Mr. Fantastic is going to be coming in the way maybe Battle Pass or as well as the Strike Pass, but likely less available with Invisible Woman just given the time frame here. So that's where I would be saving my power cores for. Mr. Fantastic, Franklin Richards, Invisible Woman likely will be accessible for most folks either in the Intel store or the command center. So that's what I would hold off on, guys. In the meantime, I hope this is helpful, guys. Let me know what you think, comments below, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.